I want y'all to welcome Tracey, one of our own pirates, and would love to hear your story today.
Okay. So thank you guys first of all for having me. Can you hear me in the back, or do I need to stand? Okay, perfect. So welcome. Thank you for having me. When I was reached out about speaking here, I was like, what do I talk about? Like, I don't really consider myself a leader. But then I started putting my PowerPoint together, and I thought, all of the leadership skills I've gained over the years and how they've changed through uncertainty and transition. And I thought we'll go there and see how this turns out. So, attributes of a good leader. So this is where I want some feedback. What would you say are attributes of a good leader? This is where you talk about. Yes. Confidence. Perfect. Communication. Integrity.
The ability to delegate work.
Delegate work. That's a good one. Empathy. Takes risk.
Accountability.
Excellent. I think I saw one more back here. Okay, gotcha. They're all great. So just looking through here, a good listener. I just jotted down a few. You guys hit most of these. A role model. Collaboration, somebody that's going to collaborate. Self-awareness. Integrity, we've heard that one a lot. Decision making. Confidence. And communication. So we hit most of these, and these are all attributes of a good leader, what I think about. So when we talk about being a leader, why do we need to evolve? Why do things need to change? And so looking at that, everything changes. Our workforce has changed. Technology has changed. The offshore, we do a lot of offshoring, that has changed. So things are always evolving. And as a good leader, you're going to have to always be able to evolve and adapt to the situations you're in. So I mentioned this, the workforce is evolving. So as it was so kindly pointed out, I've been in this profession 20 plus years. So probably longer than some of you have even been on this earth. But from 20 years ago, the workforce, the personal growth and fulfillment has changed tremendously. When I got into the profession, you work 60 hours a week during tax season. No question. Okay, that has changed. People today, they don't want to work. Fulfillment needs have changed. They want to be with their family. They want to do things fun and exciting outside of adding, subtracting, and debits and credit. We talked about technology advances. That's changed. So all of this has changed, and as a leader in the workforce, us leaders have to change as well. So we hit on this a little bit as well. Looking at research and studies, culture is a strong point in any organization, okay? So culture is a lot of reasons why people stay in employment. They might not really like their job, but they like the people they work with. They like the culture of their firm. And looking at different leaders and how that works, we took a long look at that at PBMares, and I wanted just to touch a little bit about the culture at PBMares. And this is not different than a lot of other accounting firms, but we have integrated our code of conduct with our core values to get our culture. And there are a lot of things that we mention as being a good leader. They already had this when I came, they call it iTrack. I tried to get them to change it to TRACI for Tracey, but they wouldn't do that. I tried, but they wouldn't do that. But our core conducts and what leaders have to do, we as leaders have to live and breathe these core conducts, okay? The core conducts, the culture of the firm, the organization you're working with. So integrity, trust, respect, accountability, caring, that was an unusual one, but I like that. We have to care for our employees. We have to make sure they're happy. If they're not happy, they're not going to produce good work. They're not going to stay with us, okay? Together, in our culture, we did our code of conduct where we collaborate and team together, communicate constructively, be entrepreneurial, teach, delegate, and commit to an enterprise mindset. This is for our accounting firm, PBMares, but this could really be for any public accounting firm, business, group, attorney's office. You have to work with integrity. You have to have some core values. And as leaders, we have to live and breathe our culture. Okay? Questions there? So, leaders come first. A lot of leaders demonstrate a commitment to the vision. So we have a vision, and you demonstrate your commitment to that vision. Be the change you want to create. Be energized. Demonstrate integrity. Live the values, stand for what is right. Serve as a role model. Walk your talk. Okay? The integrity one I thought about a lot. As a public accounting firm, as a partner in a public accounting firm, if we don't have integrity and we're doing audits, nobody's going to come to us except the shady people who want a shady audit. So if you are working in this profession, integrity is one of the top things I would consider. All right, so this is where it gets a little bit maybe more interesting, maybe not, but my journey in public accounting. So I did teach high school math for 5 years, and then taught here for 1.5 years. And then I started my career in 2021 with Library and Pullen. So they've been the Library and Pullen, they've been the Library, they've been Pullen, they've been RSM, they've been 20 different names surrounded that. But that's where I started my career. I prepared tax returns in our Morehead City office for the first 2 years. Even though I worked in Newport, I drove to Morehead. That technology thing there, we couldn't do tax returns in Newport for our Morehead City office. That technology was not there. You had to drive to the office to do the tax returns. For now, you can do it anywhere. Then I worked on employee benefit plan audits from April to October, which was a completely different animal. I came to school at ECU. I graduated from ECU with my master's. I had never, ever heard of an employee benefit plan audit. Okay? This was a major focus in our office in Newport, and so that's kind of just where I drifted. Not by choice. And so I found out real quick in this first couple of years, I went from teaching students how to solve for X, how to solve for Y, how to do a derivative, to working with the same people that had the same knowledge that I had. And I had to go from that teaching mindset to working with people that had the same knowledge and the degree that I had. And I realized very quickly they didn't need me to teach them how to do debits and credits. They already do. Okay? So this is just a little bit here. I will say this, last little point. When all of you graduate, you are all going to have the same degree. Every single one of you. You're all going to have pretty much the same GPA within a couple of tenths of a point. So when you're doing your resumes and you're interviewing and that kind of thing, think about what sets you apart. Okay? What is going to make me want to hire you as a staff person, as a senior, as a partner? What sets you apart? So that's what I would tell you going into this next journey. That's what you should think about. So, continuing on. I was asked to work in employee benefit plan audits. It was a large focus area in Bern. It was growing and it grew so quickly that we did that year round. I finally did employee benefit plan audits year round. Employee benefit plan audits are not glamorous. They're not glamorous. I enjoy them. They take about 120 hours. I like to see things to the end. So instead of a 6-week audit, I had about a 3-week audit. I could check that one off the box and start my new one. Okay? So, Newport is a very small town compared to the other offices in RSM. So that is where my career started going in the employee benefit region. So over the next 20 years, probably one of my next biggest change was my direct supervisor left the firm. He moved out of town. We didn't have an office there. Left the firm. So I was left as a staff person who worked on employee benefit plans, section, to having to in charge and oversee and basically step into the role of a supervisor. So very quickly, I had to change my skill set from doing to having calls with clients, to setting up PBC lists, to directing staff, to reviewing behind staff, to having communications with partners, and to getting all this done. So I had to very quickly go from that doer, still had to do audits and that kind of thing, but I had to shift my leadership skills and get the buy-in from those staff that were still going to be there to help. Okay? So that was probably one of the first big transitions to leadership that I had. Another major change came about 5 years later. The partner that did employee benefit plans in our office left the firm. I was a supervisor at the time and supervised approximately 60 plans. Helped do some of them, I managed some of them, I worked with other in-charges on some of them, and the partner left the firm. So what did that do to me? Do I still get the in-charge plans if now I have to oversee 60 employee benefit plan office? So that was another major shift in leadership roles. I was a direct contact, not just for my 10 or 15 plans that I had worked on the last 5 or 6 years. I was now the direct contact for over 60 plans. I had to call these clients and say, we've had a change in partnership. This person is no longer here, but your audit will be done on time. It will be smooth. It will be a smooth transition. And so the worry of keeping these clients fell on me as a supervisor. Other things that changed that year, RSM promotes or promoted when there was a need or when you were already performing at that level. So what that means is I was a supervisor, so I was performing at a supervisor level before I got promoted to supervisor. I was not ready to be a manager, okay? But there was a supervisor, no manager, and no partner in this office. And there were two, a good friend of mine, supervisors. He did government work. I got promoted to manager that year, not because I was better than him, but because there was a need. And so then that was a whole nother transition, because here you are with a friend that you've worked with. He had actually worked at RSM longer than I have, and I got promoted before him. And so those are things, when you get in this profession, when you get into the real world, that you're gonna have to deal with. I have great friends, we're friends now. There was a little rift, but you know, we've grown up and we've matured, but that is a change. So I had to then go that partner mentality, okay? This was the toughest one. Losing a partner was tough. This was the toughest. Everybody in this room is driven, okay? We're not quitters in this room. When I graduated, I was going to be a partner, period, okay? I had children. My interests changed. I didn't want to work 60 hours a week. I wanted to take care of my children. I cut my hours back. I still worked. I still worked hard. And RSM came out with another path. So you can work the work, talk the talk, walk the walk, and become a partner, or you can go this director path. And basically the only change there, as a director, you could sign off on jobs as a partner. But you really were not what they called a rainmaker. You didn't bring in work. You were not bringing in the work. You were not doing all the things. And so you're going to be a director. In my eyes, when I first thought about that, I was a failure. I didn't want to be a director. I wanted to be a partner. And here I am going this route. So this was the toughest change for me, and I could have let this destroy me, but I didn't. I looked into what RSM had available, and I asked to be involved in the employee benefit plan, everything, okay? We had a national office. We had a national team that did training. We had a national team that updated all of our manuals for the whole entire firm. We had a team that put together training for the whole entire firm, and I got involved. So I took that step after I had my little pity party that I was going to be a director and not a partner. I took that step and said, nope, I'm still going to be a leader in this firm. I'm not going to be a partner, but I'm going to be a leader in this firm. And I got involved. I went to the AICPA conference and the National AICPA Conference for Employee Benefit Plans. And we, RSM, came up with an employee benefit plan class that you could take that they wanted to taught in person in the various regions and the various offices. So guess who volunteered to be on that team? Guess who volunteered and taught in over 30 to 40 offices at RSM in about a 4-year time period. When I say offices, I'm not just talking North Carolina. I taught in Florida, I taught in New York, I taught in Los Angeles. Y'all can picture me in Los Angeles, that was a whole other. Washington State, Chicago, you name it, I felt like I went to that office. I made contacts. I networked like nobody's business. I love employee benefit plans. And everybody in each of those offices knew they had a question, they can contact me. Okay, so at that experience, I completely changed my mindset. I'm going to do and do and do, and I'm going to also be a leader in this firm, even though they don't see me technically as a leader. Okay. Little did I know, during that time of travel and meeting people, I was just having fun. I've never been to Los Angeles. I got to go to Los Angeles. I stayed an extra couple of days. The partner there took me out. It's fun. Okay. Little did I know that in a couple of years, COVID would happen. We didn't go to classes. We didn't go to the office anymore. We turned that into teaching online. So I did a couple of online Zoom classes, which you can imagine is a lot of fun, a 6-hour class on Zoom with 800 people. Not fun at all. But we did that. Still made contact. Still gave out my name and number. Everything was good. Until this happened. So I was at year 20 with RSM PBMares. And RSM, I'm glad I get them all mixed all the time. And I was working, it was in August, it was COVID, everybody was home. And I got a Teams message from our managing partner in our Newport office. It was probably 1 o'clock, and he said, Tracey, do you have time for a chat about 5 o'clock this afternoon? On a Friday in August. So of course I'm like, I'm getting fired, we've lost a job, somebody's, like, I don't know. So I finally get in touch with him, and he says, Tracey, RSM doesn't want us anymore. It's not that they don't want us, we don't fit their mold, okay? Newport and Morehead are small offices. We don't have SEC clients in Newport and Morehead. We don't have big corp in Newport and Morehead. We were not growing, and we were not doing what RSM thought we should do to fit to their mold. I have to give it to RSM. They could have fired all of us. They could have shut our offices down. They did not. RSM has a thing called the Alliance Firm. It has now changed to Professional Plus. And they reached out to an alliance firm on the East Coast that really fit the mold of what Newport and Morehead did. We do a lot of employee benefit plan audits. We do a lot of government audits. We do a lot of nonprofit audits. We do tax returns. And that's exactly what PBMares did. So unbeknown to me, this has been going on 2 years. They have been in talks. And we find out in August that we're going to be sold. So again, I go through all those emotions. I am good enough to be at RSM, but and I was dreading it. So we met with the PBMares CEO, the COO, the managing partner that had just retired. He said they want to meet with some of the more seasoned staff, I think is how you put it, the old people in our office to talk and see about the culture and just what you think and all that kind of good stuff. And it was near the end of COVID, so you still were not getting out a lot. So I said, okay, we'll just whatever. I was probably more nervous than anything I've ever gone to. After working 20 years, I had to go for an interview, I felt like. I had to make these people like me, because if not, they don't have to take me. So I go to this interview, or this discussion, and everything's aligning, everything seems too good to be true, it's going to be perfect. And at the end of the conversation, the CEO looks at me, he goes, we want to make you a partner. Are you talking to me? Because I'm not a partner, I'm a director. He said, no, in our scheme of things, your book of business, your work ethic, where you are professionally, you are a partner. I still didn't believe it until I got the letter in the mail and saw the letter, because I had just put that behind me. Again, I was in a different phase in my life. My children are grown. They don't need me to take them to ball games or cheerleading or whatever. So it worked out well for me. And so I became a partner there. Still in COVID, still had not met any of the partners in person, only through Zoom. And I realized on Zoom during all those years, I make a lot of faces. If my mouth doesn't say it, my face will say it. So I did have to practice that a little bit. I had not been with the firm a year, and I got a call from one of the partners and said, you've been nominated to the board of directors for PBMares. I said, okay. Like, why? How did this come about? Because you've been a leader since you've been here. You ask the questions. You work with integrity. You help everybody out. You are training our folks. And so I became on the board. I was nominated, and I said, well, I accept the nomination. I don't expect to get it. I know nobody in this firm. Who's going to vote for me? I've never met anybody in this firm. I got elected and I became board of directors. That same year, a regional service line person left. He retired for coastal and asked me to be assurance regional service line lead. That was a shock. So I am the service line lead for Newport, Morehead, now Wilmington. We have purchased the RSM Wilmington office, Norfolk and Newport News, and Williamsburg. So I'm the assurance service line lead over that. And then this was probably one of my most proud. I was asked to be the partner sponsor for the intern program. We have a wonderful intern program at PBMares, and this is one of the ones I enjoy the most. But let me just back up, because changing to PBMares, I still did everything I did when I was at RSM, except now as a partner. And lo and behold, RSM decided employee benefit plans is not really where it's at for them, because they're small jobs and they want big jobs. They want international jobs. So do you remember all those 30 or 40 offices I visited and all those contacts I made? My second year as partner, I was referred over $600,000 worth of business from those contacts at RSM. Because we were an alliance firm, they knew me, they knew I would do their audit with integrity and do their audit like it was supposed to be done. We would not go after the clients for the other stuff that RSM continued to do for them. And I was referred the third year, I was referred almost another $500,000. So that's 2 years, and I was referred almost $1.2 million in business. Okay, so all that to say, had I not stepped up in that director role and just, woe with me, nobody likes me, I got done wrong, and volunteered and just continued on and be proactive and all that stuff, I would not be where I am today. Okay, all of us in this room are leaders at some point in time. You might not realize it. Like I said, when he asked me to talk about this, I said, I really don't think I'm a leader. I'm more of a get together and let's work it out as a team, and I'm not like, let's do it. But that works, and we're all leaders in some way. You have class assignments that you are leaders in. Just going out to buy McDonald's, you're a leader in some way. You don't have to have a title partner to be a leader, okay? We have staff in our firm right now that are tremendous leaders. And you just have to be positive. You just have to keep pushing through, and you hope and pray for the best. So things that I've learned through this whole experience: respect at all levels, and all abilities. Make culture and leadership behavior a priority at all levels. And what I'm talking about here, when I first started in the accounting profession, a staff did not talk to a partner. Partner didn't have time for that. You talk to your senior or your supervisor. That's not. I work with interns, I work with staff, I work with everybody, okay? So as a leader, to me, respect. Sometimes you must speak up, question ideas, and push back when needed. I used to not be like that. I would just sit and hope somebody else would ask the question. Speak up. If you have a question, speak up and ask the question. Kindness goes a long way, but you will have to have difficult conversations. So what do I mean by that? When you become a leader, to me, kindness goes a long way versus dictatorship and you will do, but you will have to have difficult conversations. Some of my best employees now, some of the best people that work at PBMares now, I had difficult conversations with, meaning, you've done the same thing wrong the last 10 times. What's wrong with you? Slow down. Pay attention to detail. But if people do not give you that constructive feedback, yes, it's going to sting and it's going to hurt and it's going to make you mad for a little while, but you're going to rise above it and you're going to learn from it and you're going to be better for it. Okay? But if you don't have those leaders that have those difficult conversations, you'll never learn. You will not be correct 100% of the time, and that's okay. Just learn from those mistakes. Networking is key. I tell this to our interns. Why would you network with people in here if, I don't know if if everybody here is accounting majors, there might be some in the network. We have referrals all the time from other accounting firms because they don't do audits or because they don't focus on franchise audits. We have those referrals. So what I'm telling you, network. I mean it. Meet deadlines to keep everyone in the know. If you say you're going to do something, do it and do it well. Nothing makes me madder for somebody to say, I'm going to have this done, and I get there ready to review it and it's not done. Keep them in the loop. If it's not going to get done, keep them in the loop. Don't ignore it. Okay? Clarify expectations, roles, responsibility, and decision rights. That's an important one as well. And listen more. Best impression for internships and careers. This is just kind of bringing it back when you graduate and you're going out into the job market and what can we do? Show up ready for a challenge. This is not going to be easy. Okay, be ready for the challenge. Ask questions when you're not sure. Complete tasks and assignments on time. You will make mistakes, but the important thing is to learn from them and not make the same ones again. And we have leaders at all levels. You do not have to be a partner to be considered a leader. Okay? So, just a plug here for our PBMares internship. It is a summer 10-week program, starts the 1st of June, ends in August. We have orientation in Newport News. We get experience in tax and audit, direct interaction with the CEA partners and managers, and we have 12 offices, and that's where our offices are located. North Carolina and Virginia and then Maryland. Before I hit the last slide, the things I want you to take away from today. Network. Be proactive. Don't get mad when you get that constructive criticism, when you get those evaluations that says you missed this or you missed that. That's how we learn. It's kind of like getting an 80 on a test, and you learn from that and you do it better next time. Same thing. Ask those questions. And then really think about what sets you apart when you go into this workforce. Because every single one in here is going to have the same degree and pretty much the same GPA. So what's going to set you apart that makes you different from the person sitting beside you. Okay? And then finally, here is my contact information. Again, if anybody has any questions, that's my email address. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you guys for allowing me to come today and speak. I hope I didn't put anybody to
We're going to open it up for questions. I'm going to open up for questions. One or two things beforehand that I just got to say. So, as we've been doing this, as I've been here, 24 years, and we've had to meet the firms, Tracey's come. A couple of cool things that she said that I want y'all to meet is to understand is, I see the exact same person every year for the last 15 or so years, meaning what y'all are seeing today is exactly what she told you she was doing 20 years ago. The same energy, the same drive, and I don't want to say consistency, but you get what you see, right? And it's not going up and down. And I think the other valuable thing for me listening is it's impressive because the director, that was a big deal, right? That was a big deal. And in life, you're going to face those turning points, and you can choose, right, to go one route and the other. And so for me, it's kind of cool. I get a little emotional. Right? I'm impressed that you go that route because in our world, that was a big deal. That was a big deal. All right, so I'm opening up for questions. Dr. Snyder.
Okay.
Yes, I've always been a big preacher of the fact that this is still a credential-driven world we live in. So whether somebody goes into internal audit, becomes a certified internal auditor, or private industry certified management accountant, or public accounting CPA, it's still definitely worth it to earn that certification in the early years of your career.
Absolutely, and I encourage. It took me a long time to get my CPA, not because I didn't have great classes, I didn't have great professors. I worked full time, I commuted full time, I commuted an hour each way. And I made good grades here, but I didn't make the CPA a priority. When you start working, it is even harder to work 8 or 9 hours a day and then go home and have to study. Study now and get it done before you get started. It's not the end of the world if you don't. I finally passed it. It took me 3 or 4 times. And Funny story, the time I did pass the 2-part, this was before, y'all can't even imagine, you go to Raleigh and sit in a room and put paper and pencil, 2 days work, had to pass 2 parts. And I was 9 months pregnant in May. And I said, I am not going to take this exam. But then they came at me and said, I've paid my money, I'm going over there and taking this exam. And I can remember sitting in that room, even 20 years ago, thinking, the answer's A, and I'm having a baby in a couple weeks. I'm having my first child in a couple weeks. And she was actually born 3 weeks early. She was born the next week. But that was the time I passed. So push forward, you can do it, you can get there, and it's important, like Dr. Snyder said, to get there.
All right, question.
Can you give us an experience about maybe how you've cultivated like the eye track?
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm trying to say, like the culture.
Yeah,
Using
so
the eye track system.
I feel like I do that every day. The people I work with closely may not say that, but we always, and let me go back to this slide. I'm all about respect. There it is. All about respect, trust, accountability. And I will say this, even just this past couple of weeks. So we have a huge deadline, October 16th, October 15th is our deadline for employee benefit plan audits, just like for tax returns, okay? And so every year, we always have those 10 or 15 clients that drag their feet and they want their audit issued on the 15th, okay? We always have it. I am a people pleaser. I want our clients to be happy, okay? But I also want our staff to be happy and our other people. So I think one of the ways I demonstrate our culture and core values, I'm a partner and I'm reviewing this, but I pulled samples that week. I did contribution testing that week. I did distribution testing. I drafted financial statements the last 2 weeks. I held everybody accountable, but I was also held accountable as well. And so we have weekly meetings. Where are we at? Do we have stuff sitting? Let me do it. And just held everybody accountable. So I think that's probably one of the main ways.
We've got our student body president back there. Let's see what kind of question.
Okay.
Hey, so I was just curious. So you talked about going to become a director instead of a partner. That was one of the toughest decisions you made. Can you take me through the process of what made you realize that sometimes you do have to take risks in life? Basically, what led you to want to be a director instead of a partner because you knew you wanted to do that for so long?
So, yes, I can answer that question. So at RSM, at that point in time, you had to have as a partner like $2.5 million worth of business, a book of business that you serviced. That was your book of business. In Newbern, I don't even think we had $1.5 million worth of business in Newbern for audit. So the likelihood of me making partner at RSM, I would have to move to a large office and take over somebody else's book of business, or I could stay in Newbern. I'm from Newbern, my husband's from Newbern, our families are from Newbern, so you get the picture. I'm not leaving Newbern. So I had to make that decision. The decision was never really, though, you could be a partner in Newbern, because that was really not even an option. I could move, I could go work somewhere else, or I could take that director route. Even if it had been an option in Newbern, I probably would not have taken it. I would have probably still gone the director route, because the expectations on a partner at RSM, not that it's not like that at PBMares, and things have changed. I think PBMares, you have to have like a $1.2 million book of business because we're smaller. But at that time in my life, I also had small kids. They were, I think, 8 and 10. So they needed a mama. Now they don't need me now, but they still do. But I felt like they needed me, and I didn't want to wake up 20 years from now and say, I missed that ball game just to make partner behind me. But that's a personal decision that I make, and everybody's different. I did a class for our internship, Path to Partner, and when you talk about getting emotional, 20 years from now, I did that maybe a couple months ago, and I thought I was going to start crying, because that's not what you go into this profession. That's not what I went into this profession wanting to do. But I made a decision because that was best for me. But everybody's path is different. Everybody's decision is different. It amazes me the people who are not from Greenville that are here, and there's people out of state that are here. There's people that move out of state with their families, and I'm like, how do you do that? So it's just your own path.
All right, that's all another. Okay.
I guess kind of building off of that, a lot of us are students that are looking, very forward-looking, and we're looking to grow, and we believe that we can reach partner level sometimes, but we're not really prepared for like a setback or something that we may feel is failure. You said that you felt, like being director, you felt failure. What is a way that you feel like we can motivate ourselves and kind of get back on our feet for younger people who may not have kids or family?
Yeah, that is an excellent question. I think it takes the support of family, friends, co-workers. Don't get me wrong, I had my pity party. I did have a pity party, but I had to be realistic also. So even though I did feel like a failure, I had to outweigh the pros and cons. We're all list makers in here. What's the pro, what's the con? And so, I mean, when I told our partner I was going to be the director, I cried during our meeting because just to say that word out loud, but I still had encouragement. That managing partner, so nice. He was like, you are still a major asset to this firm. Just the encouragement from coworkers. You're gonna have that, everybody in this room is gonna have it. If you don't, you better go buy a lottery ticket. Because you're gonna have those disappointments. But I think it's the people you have by your side, your friends, your family, your coworker, that moral support. And then have your moment, and then look at the bright side, because there's always a bright side there.
We've talked about this a lot. Remember, that is, you gotta have a community. And
Right.
if you think you can do this thing alone, you're fooling yourself. And your community also needs to be more than just your spouse, right?
And talk about community, I know partners at RSM that are very successful partners at RSM. They're very lonely. Very lonely. That was their choice. Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
other questions?
Oh, yeah. But first of all, congratulations on all your team. I wanted to ask kind of what energized you or like drained you as you made all these changes throughout the years with more just firms and just like executive positions and things like that.
I often say, especially during the October 15th deadline, that the client's job would be fabulous if we didn't have clients. But if we didn't have clients, we wouldn't have a job. So clients will drain you because they start out strong and we're going to get this done early, and then October 15th, they still haven't gotten you the arrangement letter back to even get started. And so having to manage something that drains me, but also energizes me, having to manage clients, manage staff and employees, having a staff or employee that's not doing great, but you have those crucial conversations and you then see them succeed, energizes me to do that. Seeing our interns that come in and they get a full-time offer and they come back and they pass the CPA exam before they even start work, energizes me. They listen during the intern program. So those are the kind. For me, I like to see other people succeed. What drains me is having to say the same thing over and over and over again until
You know, one thing to take out as a leader too, because I can tell you this, I know the staff that work for and for the others also feel when they're with Tracey that she benefits and she enjoys their success. And that's a difficult trait, right? Is to make sure that you know as a staff or employee, as a leader, that they enjoy and they know that you really do enjoy that. That's a special trait that she has.
And let me just add this, I'll say this, I tell this to our interns as well. When you start your career, and you're thinking about levels, you are going to have competition, okay? But it's important to think about this. When I was a staff member, I was competing against my other fellow staff people, okay? You want to do better, you want to do better, you want to do better, and I made it to senior. Well, at senior, I wanted to continue doing what I was doing as a staff and be senior. You can't do that. And so throughout your career and your ranks, in order for you to be promoted, there has to be somebody underneath you that can step into your shoes and do the job you're doing so that you can move up and do something else. So I have seen a lot of people kill their careers because they're selfish and they want to do it all and they can't let anybody else in because if they do it, they might do it better than them. And so then they get stagnated. They don't move up because they cannot let go of what they were doing in order to learn the next step, Don't do that. You want everybody to grow.
What's your biggest pointer during interviews and things like that? Because obviously we fill that out a lot, so that becomes a lot of interviews.
Excellent question. Interviews, and I used to do, our thing used to have mock interviews here on campus. I don't know if they still do that or not. They might have, with COVID, I think a lot of things changed. What I would tell you with interviews is just what I've said on the resumes. You have to sell you in an interview. Your resume is going to look like your resume is going to look like your resume is going to look like your resume. But you have to go in there, you have to be confident. And when somebody says, tell me about your work experience, tell me about your work experience. I worked at the movie theater and made better popcorn. If you're applying for an accounting job, what did you do at the movie theater? Did you count the till? Did you reconcile the cash? Think about what you're interviewing for and the life lessons you've had for the job that you're applying for. I'm not saying go in there and tell a bunch of lies and that kind of stuff and exaggerate, but think about your life lessons and what you've done and how that relates to what job you're interviewing for, and you've got to sell it. You have to set yourself apart from everybody else's resume.
All right, time for one more question. Yes.
I know you said like you had a friend that you were well, he was there
Same
for a
level?
long time, yeah, and then you got promoted. How did you deal with that situation, and how, like, what makes you think that you were set apart from him?
So, how I dealt with that situation, me and the coworker worked together for a lot of years. He did another type of audit, he did governmental audit, I did employee benefit plan audits. I was shocked when I got promoted and he did not. The reason though that I was told is because we had a partner in our office that did governmental audits. We had nobody above supervisor that did employee benefit plan audits. So there was a need for promotion to manager, whether I was ready or not. I was happy internally, but I was very sad for the person who did not. He was very mad to start with, so I gave him space. And then after a couple of weeks, I sent him a message and we went to lunch. And we just talked about what he thought and what I had been told and what I thought, and we worked it out. We agreed to work together. But because that's what you have to do. You have to have those talks though about, yes, and he said, I'm happy for you, but I'm mad for me because I feel like I should have been promoted too. And I agree. I completely agree. But he also knew I didn't make the decision. And it wasn't like I got promoted so he could get promoted. It was just the need at that time. So those difficult conversations that a lot of people don't want to have, you gotta have them.
They are tough.
They're tough.
Well, thank you so much. Y'all.